Fast forward, you didn't come over brave. I'll say a FunnTV GH. So Shannon's mom say political stories are training because making headlines. And a jembre. Na yedi bi exum ewa ani de me ahobraksi mu ye boy writing simma yenuanom NDC for kyerɛ sɛ eye ruling a eye okutonu de ebetu edwa no mu ebo enyeso ne nyina no sɛ omo de omo ntise dogo bi enu abe enti eye MPP so called majority no so omo say omo ye majority party so omo be free parliament ene echina so mba be tenase pa mo my business die insida wori sema hodo a ekoso channel no so a ese won so hu de ekọ ene de ba at this point in time e bobo wra yinsimu na yasan hwe ne ekọ ene de ba channel so am say how say FunnTV GH first time I will share my here but when you subscribe to the channel hit on notification bell share na for from so answer into me enkebi medaxi say why answer edi
very much Kesi. Let me say this it's unfortunate that the Supreme Court will give a verdict like this when it's so obvious to every Ghanaian that this particular issue do not really need any interpretation because black and white. Any class 6 child can interpret, can just read it and understand. But they decided to have an interpretation. Unfortunately, their interpretation, if you do random sampling of many Ghanaians, they will tell you they are not happy with the Supreme Court's decision. And coming on the heels of the Mo Ibrahim report, I thought the Supreme Court will use this as an opportunity to at least restore some image to itself, but they further pushed their image and integrity into the mud. So I'm not worried. But the second issue is simple, the question you asked. If the Supreme Court thinks that they have that authority to change the status quo in Parliament, then they should allocate to themselves the power to order Parliament to sit tomorrow. I just want you to understand one thing, and many Ghanaians do not know, that Parliament will have our term. We were supposed to go on recess on Thursday, this coming Thursday. So, from Thursday, no MP. I'm not the leader of our side, but no MP from our side will respond to any call to leave the field and come to the House. We are not. We are not robots to be pushed here and there like that. We were recalled to the House, we came, and nothing was done because the so-called minority was refusing to accept their minority status. Their ego pushed them not to accept, so they decided not to come to the House. And so we came all the way from our constituencies. People left their campaigning, they left the work they were doing in their constituencies, and came down to Accra, only to come and sit down for nothing. And then go back. And then you are expecting us to respond to any other call again. It is impossible. We will not respond to that call.
Mr. Van der Poy, some would ask if your side of the House is just not being, forgive my words, unruly, truant, and just trying to be disobedient to the Supreme Court's orders. Why don't you want democracy to rule?
We don't care about the ruling of the Supreme Court. We will respond to a call by the Speaker of Parliament. And we will sit down and evaluate that call, look at the timing, and see whether it is convenient for us to take that decision to leave our constituencies and come and sit down in Parliament to do government business.
Mr. Boniface, I need to find out from you if this is a personal decision or this is the position of the NDC side in Parliament.
I can say this is the decision of many of us on our platform from the discussions we've had so far since the verdict came out. Majority, close to 99% of us, have decided not to respond to any call to come to the House to transact any business because we have much more important things to do in our constituencies. If the MPP are not ready to do the work of Parliament, we are not ready to assist them.
Mr. Van der Poy, I've got to say a big thank you to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you too.
Van der Poy is out.
Na me fam community concern no ma me makweku asante akwaba ono parliamentary correspondent and a court correspondent and so kweku akwaba it saying
obi mejo so
bibi ekoye
emi adon
in the enra minim say the Supreme Court e de share ene say omodi won decision be ma 9 a.m. 9 a.m. pepe no motina say.
In fact, about 8:55 almost then their assistants started coming in. Started coming in. Omodi some of their documents. They so just a little after 9 o'clock, Chief Justice and 6 other judges making up that 7-member panel. They just came in and then they just zoomed right into action. No libi, no lava, just straight to action, Obi.
And then so Speaker of Parliament, the lawyers are
yes, and then so when representations were being announced in court, there was Joe Garte leading the team for Alexander Afenyo-Markin. There was also the Attorney General himself leading his department with his deputies, but there was no representation again for the Speaker of Parliament. There was also no one from Parliament to come in to represent the party, in the matter. So it was just the two parties that were present yesterday who advanced arguments. It was the same group who are available this morning as the Chief Justice read the opinion of the court. But
was there an issue around the absence of Speaker, the rep, and the council? Issue be by home?
No, and there was no issue at all. In fact, yesterday, when there was no representation from the Speaker of Parliament, the Chief Justice, of course, he made some notes and then read to the court that by court, this is what the court has taken judicial notice of. There is no representation from the Speaker, as well as the opportunity given the Speaker to file some processes, the statement of case and the memorandum of issues had also not been done. So
just to speak, Speaker, timer, the Supreme Court, after the ruling on the interlocutory application, say yen set aside the ruling of the Supreme Court, say stay the status quo in the House.
Yes.
I remember said the court then informed parties and they say file your statement of case.
Exactly.
Any memorandum of issues. You are saying say parties in file apart from the Speaker of Parliament.
Exactly. All of them, the Attorney General, Alexander Afenyo-Markin and his parties, all filed. In fact, on the day the Supreme Court made that order, Thaddeus Sori was in court.
Yes.
He was on his feet. And in fact, one of the judges even said, "Oh, can he file the next day?" And he said he wanted to get instructions from the Speaker of Parliament who had given him the brief. And so, as and when that came in, he was going to file the appropriate documents. The deadline passed; nothing had been done. In fact, the AG said, as of last Friday, the Chief State Attorney reached out to Mr. Thaddeus Sori to find out why those documents had not been filed, but they didn't get any good response, and that is why they also went ahead, they filed their documents, and then they came to court.
In the end, court, even on statement of case, file.
Exactly, they didn't even file any statement of case, and then to build on that, to develop the memorandum of issues, and then put that before the court to enable the court come to a conclusion.
And the court had to rely on the statement of case from the Attorney General
and then Alexander Afenyo-Markin as the plaintiff in this matter. But Attorney General had made the point forcefully that because this is a matter of constitutional interpretation,
of course,
you don't even need the Speaker of Parliament to come and say anything. The parties can say a few things, they can make their facts known, the statement of case. Then the court itself will look at all the general issues and then make a determination. Yesterday, the Attorney General pressed Sanka the court should take a very dim view of the conduct of Mr. Thaddeus Sori. So he did not believe it was respectful to the court. He did not show up in court. There was no communication. He could have sent some of his juniors to come to court, whatever.
Fast forward, any come on channel institutions from say Huxley FunnTV GH. Podcast stories of friend make make headlines. Any general need to be exum or need to be on Brazil say any AD can you so with my subscribe to the channel. But when you also with my hit on notification bell. Share now for front so insert into me can be any on Brazil you more writing simu. Now after Supreme Court ruling no near him say kasa prekon or kasa idea nenka case die be beer to a trap sentisa union NDC for say omumba returning to Parliament in the name of Supreme Court ruling need ibin sida na Nshemo umeshia on their WhatsApp platforms. Kuma umudi enyina say enyadia umbe responding to a Supreme Court ruling no. Na asema umbetimi edia ye adwuma eya asema be free speaker no aba. Na we nyina de pefe senka kasa preko de enka wakasa nesenka bibia to atwa yesi pen edware wi a na nka nsu aye de asa ko ba ne sa yenu yanem NDC for atinte sukoko ede egu eye okoto no so ayenya asem koto akra se nsema o Supreme Court kan ruling a o man ne de omu ebo enyoso a enyade a ombetimi ama democracy aye adwuma the sent no say in case so mu free parliament pa say omu ko parliament akwakotena aye minority seat ni so dia there be enyade a ebetimi aye possible because omu de omunim say they are the majority leaders. Enti se ombeko parliament pa se omoko akotena minority seat ni so de there be a big defeat ema woma enya asem koto akra when is mahoro yekoso channel no so at this point in time room ne ahwe ne yeko ene de
there was nothing of the sort in court, but some of the judges were not too inclined to listen to that. In fact, Amadou Tanko said, you leave that to us, we'll take care of it. And then Mariam Owusu came in and said, but you heard the lawyer at the time say that he will go back to his client, and if there are further instructions and all that, maybe the speaker did not employ him again. That was the words used by Mariam Owusu. So the court went ahead, dealt with the matters, and this morning the Chief Justice came to read the opinion of the court.
Enti edi kind Justice 7 it's now we so
so we share 7-member panel here Kesi Chief Justice Gertrude Chokono and a president of the panel. And there was Justice Mariam Owusu, Justice Kwame Esiedua-Adibu, Justice Yauda Kwansare, Justice Ernest Gaiwu, Justice Tanko Amadou, and Justice Everett Lovelace Johnson. We only 7-member panel, but so when the interlocutory matters were dealt with,
we have 5.
The initial 5, that is the Chief Justice Mariam Owusu, Kwame Esiedua-Adibu, Ernest Gaiwu, and Justice Yauda Kwansare. And being a constitutional matter, the constitution says it must be 7 members at least. And so Justice Amadou Tanko and Everett Lovelace Johnson were added. And see, the Chief Justice, when he was reading opinion, in fact today they didn't go even to the reasons for their ruling. He just gave the underlying facts and said that it's a 5-2 split decision. 5 members of the panel, majority decision actually. 5 members of the panel agree with the plaintiff's decision, and in fact the plaintiff action succeed because of that, and 2 judges dissented. The 5 who agreed with Alexander Afenyomakin are the 5 who dealt with the earlier interlocutory matters coming up until the substantive case was heard. That is Chief Justice Tokonu, Justice Mariam Owusu, Kwame Esiedua-Adibu, Justice Yauda Kwansare, and Justice Gaiwu. They formed the opinion, said Alexander Afenyomakin's action that upon a true and proper interpretation of Article 97 G and H, the Speaker of Parliament could not have declared those 4 seats vacant. You know, was the right position, and the interpretation. Now we'll get to know the analysis they made,
the reasoning behind
exactly. And so those are the 5 judges. When it comes to the dissenting judges, those are the 2 judges who came to be added for the 7-member panel.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes, Justice Amadou Tanko, and then Justice Everett Lovelace Johnson, and they did not dissent because they disagree with the facts or the conclusion that have been reached on the facts of the case, but because of jurisdiction, whether or not the Supreme Court was properly seized with the matter, the jurisdiction to hear this matter. And so tomorrow we'll get to know whether the jurisdiction issue they raise is that, oh, this matter should have gone to the High Court first, or maybe even the jurisdiction of the court was not being properly invoked. And so tomorrow we'll get to know that, but it wasn't as to the facts of the case or the conclusions reached by their brothers and sisters, but because of jurisdiction, whether or not the court had the jurisdiction imposed, established by the constitution to actually go into this matter. So
the interesting thing with Omomo is that even if they agree with the interpretation placed on 97 G and H by Omo brothers and sisters, once they raise jurisdictional issues, the jurisdiction goes to the root of every matter.
That is, you can't even go.
You don't even go into it. And once they raise jurisdictional issues, it doesn't matter the interpretation. The Supreme Court should not even go into it to start with. And no, very interesting way. What is even more interesting is 5 nights now all the interlocutory applications. This one, of the opinion say. The plaintiff succeeds. 2 never become how many years 7 for the substantive constitutional matter money dissent here on jurisdiction. It's a very interesting point to note. Now a cocoban obviously I may show on TV time and now parties needing come outside the court. No, the Attorney General was happy. I could imagine.
Very happy. In fact, he said, I mean, this is a country of constitutionalism. Yeah. If you have any disputes, you take it to the appropriate forum.
Yes.
And he agrees that Alexander Afenyomarkin came to the right forum. And this is in his words, a very wide majority. Okay. It is not a 4-3 decision that you can say, oh, you can think of a review. Yeah. This is a 5-2, very wide margin in terms of the way the court decided. And he does not have any issues at all. In fact, he says the Speaker of Parliament and other persons, they can disagree with what the court has done. But constitutionalism means you need to abide by that. And so the Attorney General says he expects the Speaker of Parliament to actually take steps, active steps immediately to make sure that the ruling or the judgment of the Supreme Court is enforced. Yeah. It is giving its prominence in Parliament. Yeah. And then there was also Joe Gatti, who led the team for Alexander Afenyomarkin when the substantive matter was heard. He himself, a former Attorney General, and also came to the same conclusion, say, of course, Omayimu, there will be when Kasakasa can cry, say, this is the position, this is the position. Once they had come to the Supreme Court, and the court had made a determination as to the specifics of this matter, he expects here in the next few days the Speaker of Parliament will comply, perhaps recall Parliament on its own volition, make sure that these things are in motion. And then later we heard from Alexander Afenyomarkin, who also threw a challenge to the Speaker, said they've had their differences right from the start. He expects that the Speaker of Parliament will also recall Parliament and order the NDC MPs to take the minority side, allow them on the NPP side to come and take the majority side and do urgent government business, because as far as they are concerned, getting to the election, there are so many important business they have to do. There's the nominees to the Supreme Court, there are loans, tax waivers, there's the bauxite mining agreement, lithium mining agreement. Yeah. He says these are not things that can wait for so long, and so the Speaker of Parliament should reconvene. But one person, he had very strong words, was Wafaketi Amon, who said the Speaker was acting with dictatorial tendencies, and that the Speaker of Parliament had really been cut aside by the Supreme Court, and he expects the Speaker will do what is right, obey the ruling of the court. And then, in fact, MPP MPs, they were there in their numbers, they were singing their party anthem, they were singing in Shi Rado Rado. It was a scene of jubilation. A lot of other party supporters who also came around, also joined in. So Obi there, Kesi or court, Supreme Court.
Wow. I think it captures everything for us beautifully. Kweku Yedase, Bibiani Ebesia Kasebio, Kweku Asante, parliamentary correspondent and your court correspondent, because this issue borders on Parliament. He's been following up on that in the Supreme.
Nti we nsema horo timi course channel no so mamna wase so jemre ewo ha da sele so bade ndia dum ye ne ensan hyiam na yemfa de chinsi ensan enso aha FunnTV GH